Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and there's a brand spanking new interview with Chris Larsen, who is co-founder of Ripple. He, along with Jed McCaleb, founded Ripple back in 2012, then called OpenCoin. And this is an interview on a YouTube channel I hadn't heard of before called The $1 Billion Secret, and it's from just, I think it was 2 days ago this thing was posted here. Not exactly a ton of views on it, but fascinating nonetheless. It comes in a little under 15 minutes, and I had a couple interesting takeaways from it that I wanted to share with you. So I want to go through that. I've got a number of tweets from the XRP community, and I'm going to wrap up the video with this article from AB Crypto titled, "If Bitcoin is Digital Gold, There's Room for Other Things." But before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel, because if you do, all of your wildest dreams will come true. Into the content now. So I got this from Jeff Hardy here, who ended up tagging me along with a bunch of other people in the XRP community. And so, Jeff, I want to send a very sincere thank you. I really enjoyed watching this video, and I encourage everybody to do so also. I'm just going to talk about some of the higher level points on this thing, but definitely worth a full watch if you got another 15 minutes. But he writes, here it is, the full interview, XRP community, the reasoning behind XRP interview with Chris Larsen. And so, they began by talking about, okay, how did you get in this whole thing? And he talked about his initial fascination with Bitcoin back in the day. But his biggest complaint, it was interesting to see him harp on this at least a few times over the course of the video, he very genuinely dislikes how much energy is required to run the Bitcoin blockchain. He just goes on to talk about the degree, whatever you think about climate change. I do not get into politics, and that is a politically charged topic, not talking about, but he goes on to talk about a few times in this video how he hates how non-green it is, and he talks about the implications of climate change and all this stuff. So I got the sense that he very genuinely means that, and I hadn't heard him talk about it to that degree, but just given the fact that he brought it up multiple times, and he wasn't even really necessarily prompted to do so, I thought, okay, well, interesting, learned something new about his perspective on that. But you know what was most interesting out of everything that he said? And this is a really interesting takeaway. I personally had not heard him say this before, or probably not anybody in Ripple. So you know how the argument against many governments are, they're kind of scared in theory. Some are in governments around the world about cryptocurrencies making fiat currencies obsolete, this or that. Now, the way that Chris Larsen looks at this is at least as I think he believes it potentially Bitcoin, but even more so with XRP. He very genuinely believes that XRP is actually going to strengthen the staying power of fiat currencies. And you might think, well, how is that? And it really makes sense to me, because look, I am not one of these people that subscribes to the idea that XRP is going to replace this or that. There's all sorts of interesting theories about it, replacing the dollar and this or that. And to me, some of that stuff gets way too far out into left field. There's no evidence to support it. Not that I'm against the concept of a cryptocurrency, maybe XRP down the road, having some sort of function as some sort of world reserve currency as a concept. I'm not saying no, that won't ever happen. But what's more likely from Chris Larsen's perspective? He thinks that the top currencies, for example, he cited several of them, including the euro and the United States dollars. What he thinks is going to happen is with the increased connectivity, interoperability that will occur with RippleNet, and specifically utilizing XRP as a bridge currency, he thinks that those top currencies, and he cited four, and I just remember two of them off the top of my head. He said euro and United States dollar. He believes that they're going to become more powerful thanks to XRP, because more people are going to have access to them, and these fiat currencies, they're going to have access to them more quickly and at a much lower price point when it comes to converting from one fiat currency to another. So you're talking about just, again, increasing access to those around the world. And he could actually see other fiat currencies, perhaps that are not as powerful, not used in as many places around the world. He could see them not necessarily going away, but he cited, and I found this kind of fascinating, he could see them maybe still being used in their native countries, wherever they originated, but other currencies like the euro and the United States dollars being used in conjunction to that. And I think for a whole host of reasons he didn't get into, but I don't know, some of them, he doesn't believe that fiat currencies are ever going to go away. He does not believe that, and I'm on board with that concept. I find it highly unlikely that fiat currencies as a whole would ever go away, but I also don't rule out the idea of over time, as technology increases and volatility in terms of price action dies down. I don't think it's impossible for certain cryptocurrencies perhaps to be used in some corners of the world as money. To me, that can make a lot of sense. But I don't think that's going to be replacing all fiat currencies, and I don't think that fiat currencies are going to end up proving that cryptocurrencies don't need to exist either. Neither of those make sense to me. Neither of those. But he kind of saw the role of XRP he cited as just kind of like a secondary, kind of in line with like a secondary type of fiat currency, like a smaller one. And he says that it's really going to be important just as it pertains to the way in which money will be moving around the world. And so, to me, that's exactly that part of it. That is how I've, by and large, been viewing the most likely outcome, especially in the span of my lifetime. And I'm 36 here. I think in the coming decades, I don't think the United States dollar is going away. I don't. We'll see what happens. I always say, don't say something won't happen just because it never has before. That's kind of bad logic. But it's just, again, most fascinating to me that he really believes that these fiat currencies will actually be strengthened thanks to this, which is the exact opposite. See, that's going to be fuel. Let the Bitcoin maxis out there hear an interview like that. They'll be like, oh my God, it's going to add fuel to the fire, because they do Bitcoin maxi types. They do not want to increase the power that governments have. A lot of them are kind of anarchists, frankly. Which I am not. I frankly am not. So anyway, a very interesting interview, and I encourage you to check it out if you have a chance. All right, next, I saw this tweet in my feed from fellow XRP YouTuber, the Digital Asset Investor, and he wrote, "The early days." And it was a tweet from Ripple, October 10th, 2013, and it says, "Cheap cryptographer David Schwartz explains consensus." That's the XRP consensus, of course. The breakthrough that improved on Bitcoin mining. Hashtag Ripple devs. Oh my God, I really wish I had known about XRP back in 2013. I really wish I had. And it was funny, so I clicked on the tweet just for the fun of it, and you can see, Ripple, look, they've got 943,000 followers on Twitter, and this tweet that they put out only got 14 retweets and 25 likes. Because their following must have been just minuscule back then. I can only imagine what it would have been. So, oh my God, look at how far they've come. So, anyway, I just thought it was cool and thought I'd highlight it. All right, next, here's a tweet from Florian Rowe. And he writes, "Read this. Is Bitcoin is more private?" He means maybe he didn't mean to have the first word is. But is Bitcoin more private than XRP? Nope. Is XRP faster and cheaper than Bitcoin? Hell yeah. So what's the advantage of using Bitcoin nowadays? In my opinion, there is none anymore. Using Monero to transfer privately is great if you need to. And then he tagged me along with a couple other XRP YouTubers, Kevin Cage and Working Money channel. And so shout out to you, Florian. I do appreciate you taking a moment to tag me. And hello. And so what he put here, this was interesting too. So that comment, that was his own original content, and he wrote that along with a retweet of this from John McAfee from 14 hours ago, so much earlier today. But he wrote, "Good God, Bitcoin has zero privacy. You can download free orograms." This is like, I think he drinks all the time, so I think that he's drunk when he's tweeting a lot of this stuff, and it's gibberish. You can look on the screen right now, but it says you can download free orograms that can monitor your wallet's Monero. This is you gotta love John McAfee. He puts videos out all the time, and he's just always drinking. This has to be played at. So I don't know. I'm saying this in all good fun. I like the guy, but he has a lot of opinions that I don't agree with, though. I will say that. But interesting nonetheless. So anyway, Bitcoin has zero privacy, and take a look. There's a couple other tweets from him here too that I wanted to share with you. This one I had not highlighted. Or wait, no, this is the one that I highlighted. So he tweeted this out on January 5th, and I did highlight this. So he's no longer a fan of Bitcoin, it seems. And he writes, "Eat my no-no spot in 12 months. A ruse to onboard new users. It worked. Bitcoin was first. It's an ancient technology. All know it. Newer blockchains have privacy, smart contracts, distributed apps, and more. Bitcoin is our future. Question mark. Was the Model T the future of the automobile? And no. Yeah, exactly. And here's another one. You asked if I hate Bitcoin. Now, of course not, but Bitcoin is not the future of crypto. You have always known that. You just wanted to ride a wave. Crypto is the key to unlocking our prisons. You've been using that key to scratch your asses. Wake up. There you go. John McAfee, everybody. But I am on board with the concept of what Florian Rowe said here as far as, just Bitcoin does not have any sort of competitive edge against XRP. It flatly does not from a technological perspective. Here's a tweet from Pomp now. Bitcoin hash rate is at an all-time high, the most powerful and secure computing network in the world. I don't know if that's true. There's that whole centralized mining thing. But anyway, Alex Cobb, fellow XRP YouTuber, wrote, I went to go load my BitPay card, and the Bitcoin transaction took 3 hours. Lost $10 to volatility. Wow, such a great use case. And so I got a laugh out of that one, so I just thought I'd highlight. All right, last piece here. If Bitcoin is digital gold, there's room for other things. Satoshi Nakamoto was not a troll. Satoshi Nakamoto was calm, cool, pragmatic, and pro-technology. He avoided confrontation. He avoided confrontation of WikiLeaks, and he never yelled at anybody, asserted former Coinbase CTO Balaji Srinivasan, whose name I am absolutely butchering on accident, while addressing the controversy surrounding Nakamoto.com and its choice of name. Nakamoto, the publication, and not Satoshi, was subjected to massive criticism from many in the community soon after it launched in January, with many taking issue with the website being named after the creator of the world's largest cryptocurrency. On the latest episode of Unqualified Podcast hosted by Masari's Ryan Selkis, who, by the way, is a complete Ripple and XRP troll, Balaji defended the publication and stated that with Nakamoto, he wants to create a community where, quote, everybody can win. Talking about the cryptocurrency industry and the age-long discourse and the ideological split between Bitcoin and altcoins, the former exec said, quote, if you think of Bitcoin as digital gold, I do think there is room for other things. I don't really want to argue that with people who think it's a zero-sum game. There are zero-sum games, but I don't think this is one. Our philosophy is Bitcoin and not Bitcoin or. And that is actually where the community is in practice. At Coinbase, no matter what community I met with, they may be in privacy coins, they may be in smart contract platform, everybody knew, respected, and held Bitcoin. So conceptually, I'm on board with that approach right there. I do think there will be more than one cryptocurrency that will win and have staying power, and I think that'll be good for other cryptocurrencies that exist because, you know what they say about rising tides, right? So, yes, completely on board with that. And the Maximalist types, that's why they really steam my vegetables. I'm not for that. I don't want vegetables steamed. That's not good. But to me, it just makes a ton of sense here. And so it would be neat to fast forward and see which cryptocurrencies have staying power. But I'm really skeptical, I will say this. The privacy coins, good luck with those, man. I think regulatory concerns are going to make those in many corners of the world illegal. And you've already seen some of that, which I've cited over the last several months or so with the exchanges in certain countries where there are already legal implications associated with them. You've seen those coins getting delisted. So even though you can't control them, technically the blockchains still exist. They go away, which means that liquidity dries up. And, even if you're talking about them being relegated to the quote-unquote dark web, there's no liquidity. That's going to be the ultimate outcome with a lot of these anyway. So I'm very skeptical of cryptocurrencies that have they're just privacy coins and you can't track them. But hey, we'll see. That's it for this video, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write, and that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!